Hey, what's up, y'all? It's the Young OG Fabolous, and you're checking out Hot New Hip Hop. And make sure y'all download that Young OG project on Christmas Day. Y'all about to check out my top 5 reasons I love the 90s, man. So y'all stay tuned and rock out.
My current situation, a lituation. My current situation, a lituation.
For one, I would say the crew joints. I always was a big fan of, you know, like Scenario or the Symphony or the ones that had like the Locks, DMX, and Jay. It wasn't about a catchy hook or melodic flow. It was like, you know, just the crew just throwing a slab of meat in there to like 5 dogs, and they just go in there and just, you know, they all pulling at the meat from each side. And those crew joints had those kind of aspects to it. They also sometimes mixed up the type of artists that you would hear on those joints. Scenario to me had like, you know, animated Busta Rhymes, but then it had, you know, laid back Q-Tip on it, and, you know, it had different vibes, you know what I'm saying? That's one thing that the 90s had. The next thing, my second thing would be that leads right into the diversity of the 90s, where, you know, you could have backpack hip hop, you could have gangster hip hop, you could have flashy, flossy hip hop, you could have, you know, female hip hop. You had, you know, you just had so many different lanes where if you could, whatever vibe you was on, you know, you had West Coast, you had, you know, South, you know, you had whatever you know, catered to. Whereas, you know, now there's still different lanes, but there's, you know, the mainstream is pretty much in one lane, and then you know, you have the club, and, you know, I guess now the turn up, you know, music has came to the forefront, but there's still other lanes of music, and I guess you gotta dig what you dig, and you figure it out. But definitely the diversity of the 90s. Number 3, I would say the fashion. I think there was a wide range of hip hop brands that started coming to life in the 90s, or brands that were built off of the back of hip hop, you know what I'm saying? If they even weren't done by hip hop pioneers, you know, later on Jay-Z and Diddy got like Sean John and Rockaway and stuff, but before that there was like Harken and, you know, Cross Colors and those kind of brands who kind of were marketed through hip hop, you know what I'm saying, and became bigger brands because of their hip hop affiliation. So that was also dope, and that's one of the things that helped turn hip-hop universal, because it wasn't just the music. It started being how you look. Hip-hop became a look. 4, I would say, is, well, let's go right into it being universal. And I think hip-hop, you know, spread from just being like a regional thing here on the East Coast, and, you know, and on the West Coast, and, you know, then the South emerged in the later 90s to me, where, you know, I mean, they always had their thing going, but, you know, when the Cash Moneys and the No Limits, you know, came about, it showed a different angle of Southern hip hop and even Southern business and hip hop. And, you know, they had those deals where they were doing 80-20 deals and stuff like that. And, you know, but it became universal to me. People started knowing hip hop across the world. Before that, like, you would say like Michael Jackson and those big pop artists were all around the world, and maybe a really big hip hop song goes up. But towards the 90s, it started being a big thing. You go to Japan, and you could go to Europe, you could go, you know, all these places, and hip hop was finding its way there, you know what I'm saying? Through the music, through the style, through everything that was coming about from the hip hop brand, you know what I'm saying? And it was taking you further than, you know, just your region. Now, Fifth and Final, I feel like the rap crews, you know, the Death Rows, the Bad Boy, you know, the Cash Money, the No Limit, the Duck Down, Smith and Wesson, you know, it was just different crews that were, you know, different even lanes, you know what I'm saying? The Smith and Wesson, Duck Down, Black Moon, you know, Helter Skelter, OGC, that was like one whole vibe. Then you had like the Bad Boy, which was Biggie and Craig Mack at first, and then it grew to Mace, and, you know, all different kind of artists from the Bad Boy camp, Death Row, of course, Tupac and Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. Early in the 90s, it was NWA, you know, which was a group, but it still was like, you know, a strong rap crew. Cash Money with Hot Boys and Lil Wayne and Birdman and Manny Fresh. No Limit. He just had a slew of artists. Like, it seemed like they was dropping records every week with those little, like, almost backdrop-like covers that would be in the Source. Yeah, the rap crews were really big in the 90s as well, you know what I'm saying? And then it showed a big sense of unity too, you know what I'm saying? It showed like everybody wasn't rich, but they looked rich at heart. They looked like, you know, they was with their boys, the Wu-Tang, man. Like, Wu-Tang, like, at that time too, it was like really cool too to be 10, 20 deep. Like, really, really cool. Like, it's still, you know, people still mobbing to this day, don't get me wrong, but 20 deep at that time was like, that's how you rolled with your boys, and it was just fun. So when you seen that represented in hip hop through Wu-Tang, also with all these characters, it was like an Avengers of a rap group, like, you know what I'm saying? And I think they even had like Avenger names, wasn't it? Tony Starks and Lex Diamonds and all these different kind of, they had like all these characters, and like, you know, it's just dope. Like, they brought a different element as well. I remember Nas and them had started like The Firm, which was another, like, you know, kind of like a fly upscale crew kind of like vibe. So those top 5 things are the things that helped me fall in love with hip hop during the 90s. And you know, I tried to add some elements of those things in the music, but still keep it where it wasn't dated, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to feel now, but also give you the vibe, you know, give you, you know, different energies and that diversity we was talking about. And so you'll definitely see that on the Young OG project. You'll hear some samples from there. You'll hear some flips. And you know, I think overall it's a great project, man. I think it's something to rock to throughout the holidays. And you know, it's a cool vibe, and you know, it's gonna pay his dues to the 90s, man.
That kind of fell out the sky. I mean, I guess my Alchemist project, you know what I'm saying, and my decon situation, and the relationships of the people that I was working with at the time, all that.
Well, I'm a little biased, but I think Tuan is the best time of the year. Duh. Duh. Next question. Duh, Aquarius is the